All right, what's up, everyone? Hello, happy Monday. Welcome back. All that fun stuff.
Mhm.
It actually is Monday,
I
but
know.
we are not recording like for today. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyways, how's it going, Jen?
Good. How are you?
Good. Last week we started talking about what we do in our business what we did in our business to build our business and grow our business. And we want to continue with we sort of ended on culture, and we want to continue with that because it's a big part of, I guess, once you've built your business, you have to maintain it.
Mm.
You have to keep it. And it's not in the business world, and well, in anything really, it's not set it and forget it. You got to constantly work at things.
Hmm.
And so we can jump into that. We'll start obviously with our opening takes. I still don't have an intro, but I have been working on it.
Okay.
And I don't mean intro, I mean the little sound.
Take.
Yeah, sound bite. Opening takes. So I have some different stuff I'm working through. So soon, in the next couple episodes, for sure, I'll
Okay.
surprise you with that. You won't even know it's coming.
Surprise and delight.
So you said you had an opening take?
Yeah. So as I've promised a couple episodes ago, trying to be a little more organized here, but I decided to use Google and I just put in I was trying to get inspired for my opening take, insight to hairdressing. And this is really cool because I like what it came up with, and I think it just touches on some of the things that people think doing hair is about and what they forget that it is actually about. So anyway, hairdressing, while often seen as creative and a social profession, also demands technical skill, strong customer service, and a good understanding of business and marketing. Last one, not so sure depending on what you're doing, but I loved the strong customer service because we talk about it so often. I think people forget they see hair as, I'm an artist. I have to do all this stuff, which be creative. I love it all. But the customer service skill is so extremely important. So then it went on to, and I really loved this last one. It talks a little bit about the physical demands, which we know, but also this emotional intelligence and understanding and managing client expectations and emotions, even when dealing with difficult situations. And I think you're faced with this a lot. This is the part of being behind the chair that I think isn't talked about enough, but you're going to go through rough conversations with clients, making them happy. This is your work. It might hurt your feelings if someone doesn't like what you're doing. But the more you can build your emotional intelligence and be more confident in your work or have great conversations like, okay, so you're not happy with your hair today. What can we do to make it better? Rather than take it so personal, and have it shut you down. So that to me is a really important skill to stay behind the chair longer. And we talked about this than that 3 to 5 year mark. I think there's so many things that add to people stop doing hair, but I think this could be one of the bigger factors, because if you're not good with dealing with people and customer service and getting people to say, hey, I don't like what you did last time, but they're telling you they didn't like it, which means they still want to be part of your hair journey, right? They still want you to do their hair. They're just trying to create a relationship here. And if you can change the way you think of it, like, wow, I'm just not good at it. No, they're telling you they like everything about you, everything you're doing, whatever it is you're bringing to the table, just these few things on the hair. If we could tweak it, you could have a long-term client. I have clients that have been with me for 25 years. That's my whole entire career. And I definitely didn't do hair then like I do today. So something I brought to the table must have been some sort of great customer service skills, and that built my clientele. So there you are.
Yeah, that could be a whole episode.
Yeah.
That could be a whole 20 episodes. Super important to understand people
Yes.
in general. I love it. Yeah, we do talk about that a lot in roundabout ways.
Yeah. It was just neat how it came up, and it's I think really important to think about. And also that maybe if you're taking certain things to heart more than you should, like either work on your technical skills, work on your customer service skills, and get better at those things, and you'll have a really fun time doing hair.
Yeah, when you can make stuff about other people, everything gets better.
Mhm.
Everything improves. So in business and your personal life and everything, just make things about other people, be of service to other people. I like it.
Thanks.
My opening take is related to questions and asking the wrong questions, because I think that's where a lot of people fall. And I get it and it makes sense, but you got to stop. You got to realize at some point you're asking the wrong question. So I would argue that a good portion of people that are struggling would ask you something like, how do I get more clients? And that's the wrong question. So if, for example, I dumped 100 clients into your, let's give it a little bit of parameters. Say I helped you market and I dumped 100 new clients into your business over the course of 3 months. So you're pretty much seeing a new person a day.
Okay.
Okay. How many would you still service after a year? That's where the issue is.
Mm-hmm.
The issue is your retention. The issue is your systems. It's your business foundations. It's something that's throwing people off, and there's a disconnect, and they're not coming back to you, or they're coming in once or twice, or maybe they're confused. I see a lot of confusing stuff on the internet because people just put up stuff that they think is supposed to be true. But if it's not true, if like we talk about branding a lot, if your physical location resembles nothing about what you have online, it's going to confuse clients and they're not going to stick around.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a big chunk of it. Same thing goes for owners looking for staff. What happened to the ones that you already had? Why are people leaving? Instead of asking a question, probably in that case, which was, should I post on Indeed or should I post on Facebook? You should be worrying about why are you not retaining staff? Why are people leaving? Or why are people not finding you? There's, I think, deeper questions that we could be asking in business and in life in general that I think would get us further.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my opening take.
Love it.
Cool. All right, let's jump into this episode. So we talked about, I'll just quickly go through. So for people that forget, or if you haven't listened to the episode, it's part 1. I think it's called, well, you'll see it, but How to Run a Successful Commission Salon in 2025, part 1. So that was episode 199. So this is episode 200, Jen. Congratulations.
Ooh. We should get
Have a
balloons.
party. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So what did we cover in that episode? We covered understanding running business and doing hair are different skill sets. We talked about leadership. We talked about some bad marketing strategies, things that we avoided. We talked about the importance of foundations, which is your mission, vision, and core values. We talked a little bit about marketing and a little bit about culture, and we want to continue with culture. And again, these are all things that we've actually done in our salon. They're all things that we've proven work, at least in our model. And they're things that we believe will help people. So, Jen, you had a good starting point. You talked about, did you start with staff? We just went over this before.
I was saying hiring, and then I went into basically you have to create opportunities for them to want to stay in your business. So what we're seeing, I love that.
Well, why don't we?
Oh, go ahead.
Why don't you start with the hiring? Because we got to get the people first. So you open this business. We opened Hello. What did we do? How did we hire? Because we've gone through a few versions now.
We have, yeah. We started with, I don't even know if they had to come into shadow. I just remember they had to do a model. But to be honest, in the beginning.
Well, when we opened Hello, Jen, we pretty much opened with a staff.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just jumped through because then it was a crazy time. It was COVID. But yeah, we opened with, I had an apprentice and I think we had 3 stylists, 2 seasoned, 1 brand new. So that's where we were with opening. And they were just people that I had connections with. So I knew sort of what we were getting going with. But that wasn't enough to keep us going. So of course we had to hire.
Oh, a big part of it was that particular group didn't buy into what we were building.
Yes, for sure. So that was another hurdle to get through.
Yeah. So, and I think that's important to mention because I don't think we should have come up with a better process of explaining our why earlier on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I think we do it well now. Like basically what we tell our staff is that we want them to take care of the client.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what everything breaks down to. And for us, our mission becomes to support our staff.
Correct.
And we give them everything that they need so that they can support the client and give them everything that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And in that early year, half year, year and a half, whatever, our staff did not buy into what we were doing. And a lot of stuff got missed and a lot of opportunities got missed. And eventually that team ended up leaving. We all parted ways. And then I guess jump into our hiring.
Yeah. So one thing on that too, I think
That's where you were.
when we were opening, for those of you who have listened to previous episodes, I was coming out of another salon that I was owning. We were breaking up that partnership and moving on with Todd. And I don't know, it was so chaotic and it was so much going on that I don't even feel that I completely bought into what we were bought into what we were doing. Like I knew what we were creating. I knew certain things, but if you had asked me then, like, what is the vision? What are the core values? I would be like, I don't know. They're just words we came up with and I understood what they meant, but I wasn't truly following those. So that's probably from, we talk about this all the time, from a leadership aspect. If we're not fully on board, it's hard to get a staff fully on board. So there was that part of like, there's a growing pain, right? And the growing pain was like, whoa, this business is truly different than my last one. And I have to understand, what does this look like for me? So through that
That's why I
growing,
wanted to bring that. That's why I wanted to bring that initial team up, because I don't want people to think like, oh, you just build this and then it's all set.
yeah, right.
No,
It's
like
not.
we were trying, but going through COVID and all that uncertainty and everything, and then having your business basically closed,
Right.
it is a lot, and it affected us. And there was a period of, I guess, like a little bit of coasting, which just didn't work.
No. No, and we were then, when we opened, starting from behind, and there was just so many things. And these are not excuses. These are things that we talk about because what's what we went through, and it's why we are where we are today. Those growing pains were like, okay, we got to figure it out. And actually coming into this year specifically, it was like, with the team we currently have, it made sense to go all in and put lots of effort in and look at this team as a team of today and where we want to be with our salon or business. But anyway, so go back to then we need to hire, right? So interviewing process, I will say for those of you that don't know me personally, I do tend to be a little spazzy. So another growing pain for me was to learn to chill and go through the hiring process with Todd, not just like sitting there and being like, okay, you're hired. Todd, you figure it out. And that did happen one time. And, sometimes you make mistakes. So I learned to take a deep breath, to truly in that hiring process, listen to what the person in front of us was talking about, ask thought-provoking questions that I needed to know as Todd asked his questions that he needed to know. And then from there, if it was a fit for both of us, or at least sometimes we've had ones where one of us maybe is more all in than the other, and we figure that out too. But they bring in a model. So I can see their skill set because I'm the one that's teaching. So I need to see how much effort or what their technical education plan looks like. It's different for each and every person.
So at this point, if somebody's bringing a model in, they're already hired.
Correct. Yes.
That's how we do it.
Yep.
We hire for the personality. We hire for the person, not the skill set.
Yep. Nope. That's just for me to understand what basically some people come in and they're allowed to do everything. They're at a point and they know what they need to work on. And some, they might only be able to do some things in the beginning. And then we work on the other things so we can add that to their service menu. It just depends. And it's really per person.
I wanted to point that out because I've heard a lot of places that'll have you come in and do a model and then decide if you're hired or not,
Yeah.
which I think is backward.
Correct. So if I could jump forward, what we do today as an interim step there that I like even better is now we have that initial conversation. We have them do a shadow day, which then allows us to see how they interact with the staff, just different parts. Some people stay for a good point of the day, a good portion of the day. Some come in for 20 minutes and they leave. But it just allows a little bit more of get to know you in a different environment. And then from there, we do the model. Once they do the model, then the next step is to have someone on our team do a shampoo and blow dry for them. So now they understand the expectations of at least that first service, what a shampoo should feel like, what the experience of if you were a client should feel like, what a blow dry looks like, everything start to finish. And that sets them up. And then the next step is for them to do a wash and blow dry on one of the staff or a friend of theirs. I don't care. And eventually it leads to them doing it on myself so that I know where their skill set is. And then how they can do that service.
Awesome. That's our hiring process.
That's our hiring process. Yes.
How do we go about picking a person? Want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
Like somebody comes in, how do we know if we want to move forward with them or not?
So
I can talk about what I think, but
Yeah.
you're on a roll, so just roll with
For
it.
me, it is first and foremost how they show up. So we are a beauty industry. Did you show up as your best self? Like hair, makeup, all that stuff. And I'm not talking you have to look like you're going to the prom or anything, but I need to know that you give a crap about your appearance. So that's not one thing that I want to have to micromanage. From there, then I want to ask their opinion on their skill set. What do they feel they're strongest at? What do they feel they have to work on? That kind of stuff. And some of it's subjective, but I like to know where their headspace is coming in as to who they feel they are or where their talent lies. And it doesn't even really matter because I can teach anybody. So it's more just to see where their head's at. That's kind of where I go. Sometimes we will give a tour when they come in and explain the setup too. And then from there, usually Todd takes over and asks his questions.
Yeah, generally what I'm trying to figure out is nothing to do with hair because I understand that one of our core values is education. We didn't talk about our core values specifically, but one of them is education. And when I tell you that there are opportunities weekly, I'm probably rounding down. There's probably an opportunity every day for people to learn if they really want to at our salon. And we've built it that way. So I believe that we can take somebody and move them to being successful from wherever they're at. And we believe that so much that we have apprentices and apprenticeships. So we can take you from nothing to everything.
Yeah.
So, and we've done it successfully. You've done it successfully. I think 8 times now, Jen?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have 8 apprentices. That's wild. So,
and they're all still in the hair industry, which is really impressive.
which is cool. The big thing for me when we're doing, I don't even call them interviews, just like a chat or a talk, is I want to know if I can hang out with this person, if I can be around them, because I think that's important. I think that's where things start. If you hire somebody just simply based on talent, but you can't stand the person, you're going to have issues.
I absolutely agree here. If I could just interrupt for 1 second, there were some people that we had hired, and then you'd be like, why aren't you giving them a schedule? And I had to take a step back, and I'm like, they're not someone I want to work with. And you'd be like, why did you hire? Why did you sign off on this? And I'm like, I don't know. Again, growing pains. I had to grow as a leader. Not everyone that steps in the door is going to get a spot on our team. And it took me a bit to arrive at that. And to what Todd's saying is I had to look at what I want to work with this person. If I don't, then it doesn't even have to matter why. Because sometimes I don't know, but it's just a gut feeling. But it's very important for Todd and I both to want to be in our business with this person.
Yeah, I always say if I don't drink coffee, but can I have a cup of coffee with this person or a beer or whatever? Do I want to be around them? Can I chat with them? Are they funny? They need a certain personality to fit in with what we have going on. And I think that is okay. I think it's okay to hire based on those things.
I think it's important.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people just will focus on, and I see it on groups and stuff. A lot of people focus really just on the skill, really on the technical ability. And I get it because you need somebody behind a chair that you don't have to worry about. But again, as an owner, as a leader, that's your responsibility to take them under your wing and to build them, regardless of where they're at. Calling something an apprenticeship, but it's really an assistant, and you really have them trapped for 3 years sweeping and answering phones.
Awful.
That's a mistake.
Yes.
Yeah. And we hear about it so often. It blows my mind every time. I'm like, why would you stay there?
Yeah.
You've been an apprentice. You're not even an apprentice. No. You're an assistant, but you've been doing that for 1, 2, 3 years. That's wild. So anyways, if I can just hang out with the person, I'm willing to give them a shot. And it's not always that it clicks, or it's not always that you have that vibe. And then the other stuff is secondary. And Jen, you're the one that does the bulk of education at our business, 99% of it. So that stuff is always on you. You ask the technical questions, and then I'm always asking somebody tell me about your family. Tell me about where you grew up. Tell me about anything that's not hair related. Because people will always default to, well, I wanted to do hair because my aunt was a hairdresser. I don't care. I don't care about the hair stuff. I know hair.
Yeah.
I get it.
We want to know who you are as a person.
Tell me about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then because what you're doing is you're identifying the things that are important to these people. And then you're figuring out if they align with your core values. Right. Do you think that these people can help you accelerate your mission or move towards your vision? Is that what you're getting from these people? That's important. Yes. People need to buy in. What's next?
So the next part, I think, is the maintaining. And I find this
Yeah.
is probably, if you haven't thought about it, an extremely difficult thing to do for a lot of people because you constantly need to be offering opportunity, showing the why it's so great to be at your business, setting goals, helping them get there, maybe setting goals that are bigger than even they thought of, if depending on the person. This part to me is where it's at and where I see probably why a lot of salons are like, how do you hire? Can you even find the right people? And the other struggle here is, right, there's social media and there's every other salon in the area that also needs to hire. So your staff has, I used the analogy earlier with Todd when we were not recording, but like a carrot dangling in front of their face daily. Either a salon is reaching out to them or somebody else in some salon is reaching out to them, basically offering them something that maybe sounds better, looks better than what you're offering them. And this with social media is happening all the time. Some people use the word poaching. It is what it is. Get over it. It's happening all the time. If you have a stylist that's probably pretty much on social media a lot, some other salon is seeing them enough. They want them to work with them. So expect that your stylists are getting reached out to all the time. It's just how it is in today's world. But the problem is if you cannot
And get over it
and get
quickly.
over it, because don't focus on that. Focus on what you're doing. What are you offering to them? You're the one seeing them every day, every week, every month, at the end of the year, more than their family probably sees them. So it's your job to make the dangling carrot even bigger in your business than what they're seeing outside of it.
So let's talk about that then.
Yeah.
So I think that actually I know because you hear things. A method that some salon owners, I'm not going to say everybody out there, will use is to trash another place
Hmm.
or talk down. And I don't think that that's a scarcity mindset. I don't think that talking down about a place makes your place any better.
I would say it's worse.
So I don't, yeah. So because we hear about that a lot, and yeah, people do reach out and people try to quote unquote poach. I don't believe in that. I mean, I don't have a problem. Reach out to whoever you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter
It's
to
a free
me.
world, right?
But anyways, so what are some strategies? What do we do at Hello, Jen, to I guess remind people of the good things in our business or the highlights or the pros or the reasons that they should stay?
Yeah. So one comes from just even what you said in the beginning is we're there to take care of our staff. And if we take care of them, they take care of the clients. And I say that because I'm going to come from probably not even all the other great things that we do, but sometimes it's even reminding our staff to drink water, bring a lunch, to take care of themselves. Because if they take care of themselves, then they can take care of the client. It may sound silly, but I'll joke with my apprentice daily. Where's your water? How much water have you had? And it's funny, right? Everybody in the salon now laughs, but I want them to be there healthy so that they can do their job, right? So we take care of them from that aspect. We have sometimes staff that's like, I just need a day off. Like, can I just take the day? I'm not feeling 100%. Sure. What I'm asking for you to do is make sure you take care of yourself. Get a walk in, drink some water, make sure you're eating food today. We take care of them from a different perspective. And then after that, we offer like education daily. So I will work with people one on one. I will do group classes. We have this year, even more exciting, some of our own staff teaching classes where they see an opportunity. Hey, Kayla came in recently. Like, I think I could really help with some balayage type techniques that I think would help people with their clients. So, and then some other stuff for just color formulation. And she knocked it out of the park. So this year, it's not even all me teaching. We're offering opportunities for our staff to get in front of our staff and teach. And they feel like they are helping our staff get better. And that right there just creates a community and a culture that is organic. You can't make that happen. And it's wicked cool when you're approached by one of your staff members like, hey, I think that I can teach this and really help our staff. Awesome. So teaching opportunities, we have this year created
And these
opportunities.
opportunities and these opportunities are compensated.
Yes, for sure.
I think that's important too. We're not taking advantage of people. If you teach a class, you get paid to teach a class.
Yeah. And then
So
we went even bigger this year and we started our own platform of education to reach out to stylists, whoever wants to come. And we have two of our hair pros teaching those. And those are another way for them to make money, not just behind the chair. And they're having to create a class content. I work with them to do that and then deliver it. And then they're getting paid and they're feeling fabulous about it. Then we have other opportunities with just goal setting that some people are just like, I want to hit this number every week. How do I do that? And we talk through that with them and help them get there. So it's constant things like that. And then even the next step is changing little things in your salon. Like we added whatever, it's stupid, but we had a mini fridge. We got a bigger fridge, made everybody really happy. There are things like this. If you just listen to what your staff is saying, like the mini fridge wasn't enough for them and they needed a bigger size fridge, which agreed. We're not like going into this big celebration of the fridge. We just bring it in one day and they're like, whoa, this is so cool. But sometimes it's a surprise and delight of some of the
I
things
remember
that,
that day.
yeah, a
We're like,
fridge
"We got
made
us a
their
fridge."
day. Yes. A surprise and delight of some of the things that just maybe aren't in your business that would help make their job a little bit easier or whatever. For us, it was a fridge. For you, I don't know what that could be. And
A
these
big
may,
part of it is a big part of it is just simply doing things for other people. It all comes back to the service. So Jen and I just try to be of service to our staff.
yeah, customer service.
Like what do they need? What do they need to be successful? And like you joked about a refrigerator. Well, it takes a worry off of them. Like we had one of those stupid little mini refrigerators when we opened just because we had one. So we have one
Mhm,
still out on the floor so that clients can grab a water or a
mhm.
seltzer or whatever. But yeah, people need a place to put their lunch. And it was just something that in the beginning we weren't even allowed to eat together.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We,
it's just, COVID. So yeah, little things like that go a long way. And it shows your team that you care. Like I hope that I'm just gonna ask them actually. I'll ask them like during this week and then we can record and tell people, but I'll ask them why do they stay?
yeah.
What do they get out of the deal? Because, like you said, Jen, with the carrot of social media dangling in front of everyone's face, this staff has an opportunity to go wherever they
Yeah.
want.
Super
They stick
talented.
with us, and for some reason, and they tell us like, "Hey, I love it here. Here's why." So I'm going to ask the staff why, if they're willing to share, why they stay with us, and then we'll talk about that.
I
We can
love it.
talk about that next week. Yeah.
And then some of the other things, sometimes you just need different engagement with the staff. So the beginning of the year to kind of get people just, I don't know, it's the beginning of the year, something fun to do, right? Like get everybody kind of engaged and stuff. I think it was you and Brooke and you guys ran some like social media type fun videos and stuff that you put together, engaging the staff who wanted to do it. We ran some contests with certain things to get Google reviews and things like that, just to make it fun. Because if you make it fun, it's not like a job to them. And then the fun part, it feeds two things. For the Google reviews, it helps the business, which helps them, which wonderful. And then they see it as a contest, so they have fun doing it. They don't even realize like they're working at it. So those are things, and those aren't things we do all the time because that would make it boring, right? We put them in when necessary. We do it when we're like, we need something different happening here. Let's do this. If we did that every month, if every month we ran some challenge, then all of a sudden this challenge now becomes a job. So we sprinkle that in when necessary and when we feel something fun is needed. It just makes it like more exciting and not just like, oh, we're doing another challenge this month. That's cool. Like, and then at the end of the day, to be honest, we treat the staff like professionals. We treat them like adults, not like children. That's very important. They are a professional. Maybe the people in your staff, I don't care what level of professional they are, but they are professional. And if they're not at the level of professional that we want, we have a conversation. No big deal. Hey, need you to step up this. This is what we're looking for. And it's always received well because it's right to them. We talk to them and we deal with them as if they are adults. They may be young adults, but they are adults. They are the next generation of hair pros, and they need to be treated at a certain level of respect.
All right, so we got to wrap up in a minute, but let's deal with conflict.
Okay.
So that's going to happen in your business.
Yeah.
You're going to have people that don't necessarily get along. And we tell people all the time in our business, you don't have to be friends. You guys just have to respect each other here and help each other here because that's our vibe.
Yeah.
Those things aren't negotiable. There are times though where people maybe don't get along for whatever reason. There's a
Mm-hmm.
miscommunication, or somebody's mad at this person because they did this or thought they did that. And that happens not because we have cattiness or anything like that.
It's
That
just
happens
life.
because we have interpersonal relationships,
Yeah.
and that's going to happen in any
Mhm.
scenario, not necessarily business, not necessarily a salon. It's nothing to do with, it's just a lot of women. It is what it is. You put
Yes.
people in a box and conflict will happen. So how do we deal with that when that does come up?
So what we've done this
We
in the
just fire
past.
somebody first. Well, no, I'm just kidding.
Normally I'll check in. Like I hear chatter when things are happening, and since again we treat them like adults, I go to the person or one of the people or both. Like, hey, did you guys handle this? Are you all set, or do you need some help? Right? Because an adult would just deal with it, and 9 times out of 10, they're like, nope, we squashed it. We're good. Moving on. There are cases where that's not enough, and then I'll sit down and we just hash things out. What's going on? What's happening? And generally, it's both people's feelings are hurt about something. They're just not. They're not understanding which each one's coming from. And it just really ends up being a conversation. And then before you know it, you're over it. Both people are like, oh, dang, sorry, moving on. But more often, it's from a place of I just make sure, I just check in. Are we good? Or are we not good? And if I hear of it more than once, then we're not good. And then we're just going to sit down and have a conversation. And I'm there just to be the mediator usually and just let each person know, like, what's up. So you just handle it, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's important to just dive in there. And you, as a leader, sometimes the best thing for you to do is step back. So if your team is handling something, that's good for your culture. That means people care. So I'm not saying if there's sides, all of a sudden you have a 6-on-6 street fight out front. That's not what I'm saying. But if you have some staff that are stepping up and they're like, hey guys, figure your shit out or something like that, I think that's a good thing and you want to embrace that. I always follow up after. So I'm the after person where I'll be like, hey, you guys squash that bullshit. Like I try to make it a
Yeah.
little funny. And because laughter and keeping things light also helps
Yeah.
because like you said, Jen, 9 times out of 10, or 10 times out of 10, it's just a
Yeah.
misunderstanding and everyone's upset that everyone's upset.
Yeah.
It's it's like I didn't try to hurt this person's feelings, but I did. So now I'm upset that I hurt their feelings. But what they maybe said back to me out of reacting
Yeah.
hurt my feelings, and now they feel bad about that. So it's
That's where
just
sometimes just a
having
little bit of a mediating type situation
a
comes
little bit
in.
of a
And
powwow,
yeah.
yeah, a little get together, and
And those
we're
are
good to go. But
necessary.
I just wanted to touch on that because
I
it's
love it.
going to happen when you have people in your business. So anything else, we'll wrap on that, and then
Yeah.
we can dive into some more stuff about what we built for our business
Perfect.
next week. All
Okay.
right. Get on our email list if you're not in there. If you want more help with stuff, it's in there every Thursday. And that's it. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.